Welcome back for another exciting episode today of Slay. And today we are joined by a fantastic guest who's going to blow the doors off of any limitations you have. That's what I'm going to claim right now because I've read her book and it's outstanding. Today we are joined by Jennie Potter, who is the author of this awesome book, Self-Sabotage No More. Jennie is tuning in from Canada, from Vancouver Island, a gorgeous place. So Jennie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Leanne, for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Really thrilled to have you here. And we have a lot to talk about today. You really do coach and empower people at a whole nother level. And the first thing I'd love to do is just have you share a little bit about your background from counseling to coach and what brought you into the career you're now holding.
Sure, cool. So my background was that I always liked helping people, and I got into actually massage and then healing and then all these different modalities. And I finally landed on, after I got my degree in university, I finally landed on counseling and spent some time doing that. I opened up a clinic and a practice to help people. And when I opened up that practice, Leanne, what I discovered was that I was in the wrong profession, in that everyone who came to me was really, they weren't trying to like up level. They were like very, very stuck and down. And so it was fine. It was great. I was trained to hold the space for them and love them. But when I discovered coaching, I found this new place where I was like, I feel like I was meant for, which was helping people who are already dreaming and running and working on things to excel and grow and do even better. And sort of like, I think we talked about earlier, remove that lid, so people were feeling stuck. So coaching was dreamy for me. When I found coaching, I knew I'd found where I wanted to be. And then, that kind of took me to writing as well. But that's, a longer story.
That's a story as well. Yes. Well, your book is incredible. And I like it because it's short, it's concise, it's powerful, and you can apply techniques in there. So it's a really fantastic book. But you're used to doing the coaching aspect. What inspired you to take the time? It's a lot of effort to be published and write a book. And what was the thought process behind that?
So it's kind of a combo because I've always loved to write. And if you asked me when I was little, I would have told you I wanted to be an author. But I never knew what I was going to write about. I always could picture myself I always wrote, but kind of just my thoughts. And I always used to picture myself speaking and inspiring people, but I could never imagine what I was saying. And so all of things kind of came together with the coaching and with building a business and things where I discovered that I was working kind of like for another company doing coaching.
Mhm.
And what I noticed was that my clients would come to me high level, and they would know what to do, but they weren't doing it. And so I got really curious about this because I could see it in my own life. So, and I'll give a really simple example. You know that when you eat something, it gives you a stomach ache, you eat it anyway. You know that you feel better when you go for a walk every day, but you don't go for a walk every day. You know that your day goes rougher if you hit the snooze button, but you hit the snooze button. So why do we do this? Or to take things, look at things differently or more from an entrepreneur perspective, you know that you need to reach out to 3 people a day to grow your network, grow your business, but you don't. So why do we know what's good for us, but not do what's good for us, or know what makes us feel good, but not do it, or know what's going to increase our income, but not do it? And so I got obsessed with that. And so I started exploring and studying what holds people back. And I kind of discovered a few variables. I then, left the coaching for others and created my own coaching program. But I wanted something, I really felt like what I discovered, everyone should know. Like, it's so simple. It expedites anyone's healing, anyone's growth, anyone's success. And I just felt like, oh my goodness, like I have to write about this. And I was encouraged by a mentor. He phoned me up one day and he said, I had a dream. God told me, time to write your book. So that was the push I needed. And so that's why I wrote the book, is because a whole combination of reasons, but really the simplest reason was that I wanted a very accessible way for people to stop self-sabotaging and step into their gifts and their best life.
Oh, and it is an incredibly accessible way to do it. Let's break down a couple of the things in the book. One of the things you talk about are sabotage filters. Could you share with everybody a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we all have something called a reticular activating system, and it has a couple jobs, but one of its jobs is to filter what we kind of process. Okay, so there's four filters, four main things that your brain filters in, and they're really simple and mostly to do with survival. So one is like loud noises or danger. One is when someone wants to get romantic with you, and I always say that's duplication. Uh, One is your name, like so you hear your name in a crowd or whatever. We're designed that way. But the fourth is what's really cool and interesting, and we're in control of, which is what we notice and what we think about. So I'll give you an example. And I heard this one on TikTok of all places, and I just loved it so much. But this interviewer said to the guy he was interviewing, "Hey, on your way here to the interview today, how many red cars did you notice?" And the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't notice any, or I don't know, three or something." And the interviewer said, "If I told you that I was going to give you $100 for every red car that you noticed, how many red cars do you think you would have noticed?" And the guy goes, "Everyone."
Exactly.
Right? And so that's an example of our filter, how we can set it instantly. Instantly, that guy would have noticed red cars all the way to the interview. And so this is what we do. But what we do is we program our filter to things like, I'm a hot mess. I'm always late. I'm a plant killer. I'm disorganized. I never get anything right. I'm never included. No one ever hears me. Okay, opportunities never come my way. I'm not lucky. Now, some of us program, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed, I'm favored. Some of us do that. And so, but there are things in our lives that we declare that we don't want. And then we look for proof. We're constantly looking for proof. So if you say, I never find a good parking spot, your brain will only register, even if you find an awesome parking spot, your brain won't even remember that that happened. But if you find a bad parking spot, it'll go, oh, see, there's proof. We never find good parking spots. And so that's fine when it comes to parking, whatever, you get a little more exercise, but it's not great when it comes to opportunity. So if we want to go next level, if we want to hit a new rank, if we want to earn more money, if we want to be praised in a different way, or be successful in a new way, we have to start being aware of our filters and what we're actually setting into, what we're thinking about, and what we're speaking out.
That's so powerful and it's so true. I mean, right now I'm about to get a puppy, so everywhere I see the breed of dog I'm about to get. You know what I mean? It's just the way we are automatically. Now, one of the things that you also talked about, which I thought was fantastic in the book, is distinguishing between experiencing an emotion or basically being an emotion. I would love for you to talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, that was like kind of pivotal for me when I noticed, because I'm big on I am statements, and affirming what we want and who we are. And I can't remember where I realized it, or I can't remember the moment, but I remember it just being so transformational. So in some languages, it's I'm experiencing anger or I'm experiencing sadness. In our language, in English, we say, I am angry, I am anger, I am sadness, I am depressed, right? And so we actually take on the feeling as if it's who we are,
Yeah.
instead of what it actually is, which an emotion is an alert. An emotion is just letting us know something's going on, something's bad, a boundary's been crossed, something's good, something's safe, something's not safe. And so our emotions are just like the dashboard in a car. Engine light comes on, and so it's just alerting us that something's going on. But a lot of us will identify with the, I am angry. And I always share the story My husband and I always laugh about it because one time I just had a crazy busy day. I had like 16 calls in a row or something. And I texted him in between calls, like, hey, hun, can you make sure there's like food in the kitchen ready for me when I come out? Because I am hungry and I am working this crazy day. And normally I do the food, but I just asked him, right? So I come out of my office. I'm so hungry. He's walking in the door at the same time. He sees me. He remembers, like, oops. And I'm like, oh no. And he says, are you really angry? And I looked at him and I said, body is angry. And we always laugh about that, but it's like, if you can understand that it's your body alerting you that something's up, versus who you are, then you can kind of take that step back or create a buffer and then learn what to do with it, or how to address your emotions when you experience them versus be your emotions when you experience them. That's why most people feel like they can't control their emotions, or
Yes.
that their emotions are not their choice, is because they own them and they exist as if they are them versus.
Like an identity as opposed
Yes.
to an emotion. Well, you talk about doing that. You talked in the book about the alarm method. So I think that's such a fantastic way to get unstuck. And would you walk everybody through that, please?
Sure. So the alarm method I created, there's a few different methods in the book around how to identify unprocessed emotions. And I do want to touch on that first because
Sure. Please.
what we want to do, most people, and this is like a whole other conversation, but most people have around 250 unprocessed emotions, meaning
Mhm.
in their life, they've experienced trauma, anger, shame, guilt, sadness, and most of us were taught to push that stuff down, or it's not appropriate, or depending on who and when you were raised by, it's, that wipe that look off your face, like that type of thing. So we're taught to kind of hide our emotions. And so uh, when we hide our emotions, we usually don't allow them to bubble up and out. So we never repress joy, because joy, we experience it, we feel it, it rises up and out, we don't resist it. But the heavier emotions, or the negative emotions, which they're not really negative, they're just lower vibration. They're alerting us of something uncomfortable, which feels uncomfortable. We often will repress. So
Mhm.
the average adult has around 250 what I call unprocessed emotions. What an emotion is a vibration. So if you've never really thought about it before, how do you know you're sad or you're angry or you're happy? You feel it in your body. Where do you feel it? Well, maybe you feel nervousness in your tummy. Maybe you feel anger in your chest or your head. And so um, it's literally like your kidney pulses fear, and then that pulse alerts your body to release certain neurotransmitters, adrenaline, cortisol, like, your body's a pharmacy. So the vibrations release the chemicals and make you feel a certain way. And this is to alert us. You go to step off a curb and you see a flash of a car coming, your body pulses fear, you step off the curb, you're rushed with adrenaline. Okay. And so if you don't process that fear, that vibration, for lack of a better way of saying it, gets stuck. And so then anytime you feel fear in the future, it lights up the old fear too. And so it's kind of like you have 250, give or take, sad songs, angry songs, depressed songs, shame songs playing in the background. Some of them quietly, some of them loud. So
Mhm.
this is why when you go through a trauma or something difficult, or you go to prospect and all of a sudden you just can't do it, or you avoid it, or you go do the laundry, or procrastinate about something, it's because you're triggering this old response. Okay, that feels very real and loud, and you don't know why you're not prospecting, or why you're avoiding your taxes, or why you're not paying your bill. Some people like avoid paying their bills even though they have more than enough money to pay them. And so you don't know why this is going on, but it's because you're triggering these old vibrations, which you just didn't release in the moment.
Mhm.
So the alarm method is helping us identify the old emotion and then release it. and it's super simple. So the first step is awareness. So you can pick something you're procrastinating about. Most of us are procrastinating about something. It could be the laundry. It could be
Sometimes we have a list.
if we're talking about business, like what's one thing that you could do for your business that you haven't done or you don't do consistently that would actually take you to that next level? So if you were to just take a moment and go, well, if I did a reel every day, or if I posted every day, or if I did that podcast I've been dreaming of, whatever the thing is, write that down. And now notice, how do you feel right now in this moment thinking about that book you haven't written that how you have inside of you? How do you feel about, you should reach out to 3 people a day, but you reach out to 1 person a week? How do you feel about that? Okay. And then just notice, be aware. Okay, well, I feel mad at myself, self-loathing. I feel guilt. I feel shame. I feel anxious. I feel fearful. Okay, so just notice the feeling. Let's use anxiety as a sort of a example energy. So if you've identified anxiety, now ask yourself, so A is awareness, L is location. Where do I feel that in my body? Where am I feeling that in my body? So let's say stomach, feeling anxiety around telling someone about my opportunity, and I'm feeling that in my stomach right now. Okay. And so you feel that in your stomach. And now the next question or the next step is to ask the question, when have I felt that before? So to give you an example, I was just working with someone who had this experience where someone left her out of something, and she felt like really extreme emotions around it. When we did the alarm method, when we got to asking the question, she said, oh, well, it's kind of silly. And I was like, oh, well, it's always, people always say that. Oh, it's a little silly. It's weird. Like it'll be like a lamp breaking and you got blamed for it, but it was your brother or something random. But it was, she remembered her dad leaving. Okay. And like feeling abandoned in the same way that she felt abandoned by her friends when she wasn't chosen for something. And so we're like, okay, so now we've identified the original feeling, that loud song playing in the background. Let's clear it. And so if you ask yourself the question, when have I felt this before? Just take a moment, go to where you feel it in your stomach, in your head, in your chest, and just, when have I felt this before? It might be kind of recent, might be in high school. You weren't picked for the cheerleading squad or you wore the wrong shoes. Okay. And then you remember that. If you don't have a memory, it's probably because you're pressurizing yourself to have a memory. So don't worry about it. But if you don't have a memory, we just go to the next step anyway. Okay, so just be curious if you do notice something come up. The next step is the release. And this is the simplest, best part, because releasing emotions is kind of like lifting a lid from a pot. It's just steam from a pot. We're just going to release it easily. It doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to relive it. You don't have to verbalize it. You can. A lot of us like to, but you don't have to. Just notice, okay, it's in my stomach. So I'm just going to relax my stomach muscles. First of all, I'm going to stop resisting and just relax that area. I'm going to welcome anxiety. And then once you've welcomed it and relaxed that area physically, just take your hand shoulder to wrist, shoulder to wrist, shoulder to wrist, and just with intention, release anxiety, release anxiety, release anxiety. Okay. So literally that's simple. There is a reason why we do the physical thing. And yes, you can do this at like Thanksgiving dinner when your like sibling triggers you, or somebody you're like so mad and you're like, husband thinks it's funny, and inside you're like, okay,
Just sitting at the table.
Trigger. You can just let go, clear, mad, clear, mad, clear, mad. Okay, this works for a few reasons, and we don't have time for it today, but essentially we have all of these energy highways in our body, and we're tapping into that main highway that's connected to all the energy in your body, and we're just clearing it. So for simple, and then so A is for awareness, L is for location, A is for ask the question, R is for release. Okay, so we're going to relax and release. And then M is for mantra. How do you want to feel? So I feel motivated. I feel motivated. I feel confident. I feel peaceful. Okay, so you choose. How do you want to feel? And then you pack that in. So just like the unpacking is the same movement as the packing, but now our intention shifts to bringing in peace, bringing in peace, bringing in. And so you can do that process as many times as you like. Again, most people have around 250. You can actually find out your unprocessed emotions score. That's in the book. So you can find out how to do that yourself. But it is kind of cool. And I've seen anywhere from like someone with 5 unprocessed emotions to like 2,000 unprocessed emotions.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can clear those out really simply and easily and literally transform your life.
It's almost like if you're carrying all that around, it would be like having, 200 backpacks.
Ah, I often say to people, especially when they're carrying, because this is a little bit more advanced than the book, but sometimes people carry like their grandfather's guilt or their mom's shame or something. It's not even their backpack.
Yeah.
So I often say to people, carrying around an 80-pound pack and you just realize that's not mine and we're going to put it down. And so you can clear out those inherited unprocessed emotions too. Those are more rare, but we definitely all have them. And we give them to our kids.
Accidentally.
Accidentally, of course.
We hope not too many of them
No,
also.
not too many, not too many.
Now, one of the things I also loved is that you really incorporate faith and gratitude into your work, which are so powerful. How do you see that having such a critical role for people that you're coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that at this stage in the game, I just see beautiful God moments every day. And I think that when people have faith in something bigger than themselves and in themselves,
Mhm.
and understand that we're all connected. The reason why I can work with people, so what I do is when I work with people, I actually connect with them and clear their emotions for them.
Mhm.
And so the reason why I can do that, well, we all do it. You and I are connected right now. We're connected to your viewers right now. Anyone watching this, we're connected with. Energetically, we're all connected all the time. And so I feel like it's really important to be loving and be grateful as very high vibration emotions. They're very healing and they can help you shift and heal pretty much from anything. Love and gratitude. Yeah. So having that faith and that self-love is one of the most healing properties anyone can have towards their business or their health or their relationships.
So that's kind of a tool that is emotional, but then you also have the tool of visualization, which is so powerful. How would you encourage people to use visualization?
Yeah, so visualization for some people is just super easy. They've always done it. They know how to daydream or imagine or whatever. And I kind of didn't do it. Like I would read it in all the books, but not do it. Was when I found affirmations easier. I got into a habit of just saying what I wanted out loud and as if it already was. But with visualization, your brain is kind of smart dumb. So it doesn't know the difference between real and not real. So if you lie in bed and imagine something amazing happening, you can trick your brain into thinking that that is happening. And when you do that, you make it possible, and then you attract it, and it's this whole kind of domino effect. So, my favorite hack for visualization is imagine that you run into someone at the airport,
Mhm.
and it's someone you admire, someone that's helped you along the way, or an old friend that always cheered for you. And I make that distinction because sometimes people will like pick their mom, but then they visualize their mom and their mom's like, oh, honey, or whatever, like not the desired response. Okay. So we want someone who we know is going to cheer for us. Okay. It might even be like maybe they picture you And they're like, oh my gosh, Leanne, I just like, they're now you're visualizing that they're visualizing that they're running into you at the airport. Okay. And they're telling you, I watched your YouTube channel and I got so inspired that I went and did X, Y, and Z. And now I'm living in my dream house. I've doubled my income. I've met the love of my life and I've never felt healthier. Okay. So, as a hack, imagine running into someone in the airport a year from now and you're telling them about your success. And if a year feels like too short, just say 3 years. It doesn't really matter. We just want your brain to be in a space of visualizing, telling someone that the good things have already happened. Okay. So that's like a little hack because it helps you, your brain will go there like, oh, what does it feel like? What does that feel like? And that's what we want to do. We want to resonate at the same vibration as if it's already happened.
Yeah, it's so powerful how much you can do that. And a lot of times you hear about Olympic athletes and all these people visualizing themselves winning the gold over and over and over and over again. You've created so many tools and so much coaching. Would you mind sharing maybe a particular success story where you were able to have somebody really have a breakthrough and stop sabotaging themselves?
Yeah, so again, a lot of times it is emotional based. And I was thinking about this wonderful, very successful entrepreneur that I worked with, like top leader in her company, does all the right things, shows up consistently every single day. But in this one area, she had like literally like was living her dream life. They moved to Mexico, living in a beautiful home, all the things, right? All the things a successful, when you got on your dream board, she's hitting all those. Okay. And she was showing up on her social media every single day, and yet she had really low followers. Now, for me, honestly, her amount of followers I would have been thrilled with. But for her, she felt like I should have like so many more, right?
Mm,
And so this felt like a block for her. And so we checked in, and what came up was when we talked about her showing up on her TikToks, what came up was this funny feeling in her stomach. If we go back to the alarm method, right?
yes.
And when we explored that, it was she felt badly that she was sharing her dream life on TikTok. So she was dialing it back. So she's sharing her dream life in her videos, but she's feeling bad because some of her family members didn't approve of the move. Okay. So she's dialing back, not being authentic because she, had this unconscious guilt around living her dream life when other people
Sure.
either didn't approve or weren't living theirs. And so when we identified that and cleared that, literally 48 hours later, one of her videos went viral, had millions of views, and ever since she's got millions
Wow.
of viewers and followers now. I know it's such like a simple example, but it really transformed her business. She had like leads come in, like she still has leads coming in, like it's just every single day, these leads coming in. The same person, again, very successful, lots of goals. When she was younger, she wanted to be a singer, and she was told that she couldn't make it as a singer, like she had to do her plan B, right? And so she didn't realize, but she had been holding herself back. And after we did the work and released the emotions, she started to find her singing voice again. And it's really beautiful because now she like sings with her daughter and just like has found her voice again. And it's just amazing, like where we hold ourselves back
Mhm.
unconsciously that holds us back from even bigger and better things. So I know it's kind of a simple example, but
Great one, though. It's a really great example.
yeah, yeah,
It's funny how so many times there's a tendency for us to remember something terrible, like, you were in middle school and you were really embarrassed by something. You do like 10 great things and you forget all those. It's wild.
yeah. So that right there, that's a survival mechanism. It's so bizarre. So we are designed to remember the yucky stuff. So for example, if you ate a poison berry and it got you really, really sick, you would never forget that. In fact, anytime you saw an unknown berry, you would feel sick to your stomach. You're miraculously designed to remember the bad stuff to keep you alive. The problem is in our day and age, it works with social media posts too. So you could do a post of your successes and like 25 people are like, congratulations, you're amazing, so proud of you. And one person could say, wow, you're super full of yourself, or I wonder how you got that, or whatever. And that's what you'll think about when you go to bed at night. So it's this design that just this miraculous human design that makes us stick to the bad stuff and not remember the good stuff as clearly. Mm-hmm.
So I know that this book has been amazing. Again, I want to tell everybody it is Self-Sabotage No More. But I also know that you have an upcoming project, which I'd love for you to take a minute and tell everyone about.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. And even when we were talking about this, I kind of welled up because writing is like literally, I love doing it. I'm so in this flow. And I've written a new book. It's called Stuck No More. It will be available the end of August, beginning of September on Amazon. And Stuck No More, so Self-Sabotage No More is really all around that clearing the hidden obstacles that are holding you back.
Yes.
Stuck No More is there's some new tools in there too, because I can't help myself. But around clearing anything that might be blocking something specific that you're wanting to create.
Mhm.
Then I go into teaching you essentially speaking about how to do an affirmation in a way that's powerful so that you can create whatever you want to create. So it's more the first book, Self-Sabotage No More, is more about like the clearing the hidden stuff. This one's more about creating what you want in a specific way. And so I mean, I could talk about it forever. So
I
it's
think when the book comes out, we'll just have you back. Wouldn't that be the easiest way?
let's do that. Let's do
Let's
that.
do that for sure. But it sounds, I mean, it's a great connection because if you can, it's almost like you're clearing the space and then you're creating the possibility to fill it of what you really want in life. So that'll be outstanding to have you on there. And if people, in the meanwhile, because I'm going to now speak into existence, I'm visualizing you coming back with the new book. But in the meanwhile, how do people follow you, connect with you? Do you have a website you want to share, social media, so that people can continue to learn from you?
Yeah, so the simplest way is to go to jenniepotter.com, and it's JenniePotter.com. And there you can click on community and see my Facebook group, which is Self-Sabotage No More. You can, connect, follow me from there on Instagram, all the platforms, all the things. And so I also have free resources in there. I have the alarm method as a free download and things like that. So you can check out all of the things that I offer on my website, and that's probably the simplest way to find me and connect with me.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your experience, your wisdom, and sharing all this. And everyone, this is a great book, and I like it because, as I said, sometimes you get a book and it's small enough that you can really dive in and get all the juice out of it without feeling overwhelmed. Like, oh, I'll get to that later. See, this is a way to not self-sabotage yourself, to get a book that you can go ahead and apply right away.
And it's on Audible too, so you can just listen to it. It's me. Like I always share that because I'm a listener now to books more than a reader, so it is on Audible as well.
That's even better. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We really appreciate you. It's a great book, and I look forward to your next one. So stay in touch with us, please.
Thanks so much for having me, Leanne.
Take care.